Kalamazoo city leaders say the number of homeless people in Kalamazoo has shot up over the past year. City council members voicing their concerns at last night's meeting are now brainstorming new ways that they can help.
And tonight, News Channel 3's Autumn Pitcher is joining us live in studio. And Autumn, you spoke to residents who say they simply don't feel safe anymore when they're downtown.
Yeah, Sandy, Jessica, City Commissioner Don Cooney tells me there needs to be more places for the homeless to go. And at the same time, the city wants to make sure people have a right to their parks and a nice place to live. Residents I spoke to today are not happy about the growing homeless population and are demanding more to be done. Quentin Slavacek, who works in downtown Kalamazoo, says he's seeing more homeless people on the streets, hanging around at the bus stops and lingering in public parks.
It seems people are just down and out of their luck. They're carrying all their belongings with them, and they've just got the world on their back. City Commissioner Don Cooney says services such as ISK, which stands for Integrated Services of Kalamazoo, and Open Doors, a nonprofit group helping families achieve housing success, are drawing the homeless to Kalamazoo.
And I think one of the reasons there's an increase here is because we provide services here that a lot of other areas in the county don't. And so people come here because they can get some services. We still can't keep up with the problem.
Cooney believes the root of the issue is poverty and economic inequities.
There are groups like in Charlotte, North Carolina, that have looked at inequality and are developing a long-term plan to deal with it. We should be doing that here in the city.
According to the most recent findings from a United Way report, show 56% of City of Kalamazoo households live within the minimum income level necessary for survival.
I'm seeing a lot of unemployed people, and they really can't get a job anywhere. I don't want to see it here because it's sad.
Audrey Chapman, a Battle Creek resident who visits Kalamazoo, has oftentimes seen the homeless hanging out in Bronson Park with their belongings.
A lot of the homeless are invisible. There are people that are couch surfing. There are people that are living in people's yards. They know the best what would help them, and we need to talk more with them.
Cooney believes the services that are offered here in Kalamazoo need to be better coordinated, adding it's important to take a more comprehensive look at poverty in the city and compare best practices across the country.
The Democratic-led state legislature is back for the first time since June tonight, but off to a slow start on its first official day back.
And our political reporter Rachel Louise Just was there as lawmakers returned to Lansing. She tells us why it may not be slow for much longer.
The first few months of Michigan's Dem majority legislature was one major policy change after another, and it's looking like the last couple months of the year will be the same. Democrats have a lot on their agenda. By most accounts, much of it is coming from last week's What's Next address by Governor Gretchen Whitmer.
So I'm, of course, an optimist when it comes to that. I think we've shown that we can get a lot done in a short period of time.
The governor laying out a number of big priorities she wants lawmakers to pass, including 100% clean energy, paid family and medical leave, and repealing abortion restrictions. Now, lawmakers have to nail down the details.
We're pretty focused on our big, broad ideas right now, and putting those into our session schedule and into our committee schedule. So, we've got a lot we want to do in a short period of time.
And how short of a time period it'll be is also unknown. Democrats may end session earlier than December this year in order to get around a legislative restriction that stops laws without enough support from going into effect right away.
There's a lot of factors there. We've got a lot of bills that could take effect immediately that the Republicans refused to give immediate effect when they passed, and those are important things where days and weeks could matter a great deal.
A lot of things we're really concerned about what the governor dropped last Wednesday, and so we are a little bit on edge with that, and we want to make sure that we do things that aren't going to hurt, especially our rural communities, our farming communities.
Republican Jamie Green remaining optimistic when it comes to negotiating the details of Democrat-led policies.
I think having relationships are really important, being a level-headed person who wants what's best for everybody in the state of Michigan.
Senate Majority Leader Winnie Brink says they're using some existing bills as starting points on policies and starting from scratch on others.
I can't emphasize enough how much conversation has to go into big, complex ideas.
In the news for you here at 5, new charges tonight for a man accused of having hundreds of animals at his home.
22 Investigates has been following this story for months now. This man, Robert Archer II, is facing 5 misdemeanors after the Cass County Sheriff's Office found 107 animals at his Howard Township home in June. That's on top of more than 100 animals at his home last year.
WSBT-22's Erica Finke is live for us outside the county courthouse tonight. Erica, he's faced similar charges before.
And this is the 4th time Robert Archer II has faced animal cruelty and abandonment related charges, including previous felony counts. I spoke with the prosecutor today about some of the patterns they've seen with these cases so far. Robert Bobby Archer II received 7 days in jail and 2 years of probation after police found 106 animals in his former home in August 2022. This year, his bond was revoked after 107 animals were found at his Howard Township house. Stemming from this incident, Cass County Sheriff's Office told WSBT-22 it asked for 107 counts of animal cruelty, 2 counts of possession of a reptile or amphibian, and 9 counts for violating the county's dog ordinance. Prosecutor Victor Fitz said they could only charge 3 misdemeanors for animal abandonment and cruelty and 2 misdemeanors for having unlicensed dogs.
There were 2 or 3 animals that were in less than ideal condition, so again, those were charged. But it's very different from the previous episodes where there were carcasses around where animals had died, and there were other animals that were really on their last legs, so to speak. That was not the case in June.
So anybody could essentially have 100 and something animals do the same exact thing or something similar from what we've seen in the past with this specific individual and only get a couple misdemeanors?
Again, it depends on what the condition of the animals are in. There's in a farming community, you've got places that have thousands of animals, and we don't charge felonies because simply because they've got thousands of animals. We charge if the conditions dictate charges.
According to Fitz, Archer had a probation violation in July for having 5 or 6 cats showing no signs of abuse when he's not supposed to have any.
There's no question this has been a huge impact on resources for animal control and so forth, and that's why we've asked for jail the last 2 times in these cases. Because again, he's not learning his lesson.
I've called, emailed, and stopped by the office of Archer's attorney, and so far I haven't received a response yet, but his next court date is still pending.